Okay, it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce our guest speaker. Many of you know him, Mike Rocque, who's on his way to becoming Reverend Mike Rocque. He's presented here at our church in the past, and we're so delighted to have him here. Now, we've all read this flyer on you many times, but I just want to read it. Mike Rocque has been the spiritual leader of Unity Center of Spiritual Growth in Ada, Michigan for 2.5 years. Mike has attended Unity for over 40 years. So since before you were born, right? I had to say that, okay. And has been passionate about sharing the message of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore since he first walked in the door. And so without further ado, let's honor him with applause. Yeah. Feel free to go back to the tables and get food.
Yeah, come up here and grab. There's a bunch of food up here. I might even grab a slice of pie while I'm actually talking. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, anyways, I'm just delighted to come back here. It's been a while. So for some of you that were here 4 or 5, well, no, Diane said it's been almost 6 years, 7 years. My wife and I came through here and did a couple of talks and presentations, and then we actually spoke one Sunday as well. So it's just good to be back. It's good to see some familiar faces and to reconnect. And so I'm just thrilled to be here. And really thought about tonight's talk. It's more of a conversation. It's more of a dialogue, if you will. And the name of the talk is really your spiritual sweet spot. So I'm going to start off the talk actually with a little story about the Dalai Lama. So what happened was this story took place between a Brazilian theologist named Leonardo Boff and the Dalai Lama. And what happened is Boff was known as a really strong proponent of liberation theology back in the day and a rebel within the Catholic Church. And so in a roundtable discussion about religion and freedom in which the Dalai Lama and Boff were participating in, at recess, Boff maliciously and also with interest asked the Dalai Lama, "Your Holiness, what is the best religion?" He was trying to set him up, right? He was trying to catch him. Gotcha. So Boff anticipated that the Dalai Lama's response would be, of course, Tibetan Buddhism, right? Or one of the other Eastern religions that are far older than Christianity. But the Dalai Lama, instead of answering the question right away, he paused. And he sat there. And then finally he smiled and he looked at Boff right in the eyes, and which surprised Boff because he knew of the malice that was contained in his question. So it's kind of like the Dalai Lama knew what he was up to, right? He kind of knew what was going on. And the Dalai Lama answered, "The best religion is the one that gets you closer to God. It's the one that makes you a better person." To get out of his embarrassment with such a wise answer, Boff then asked, "Well, what is it that makes me a better person?" And the Dalai Lama's response was even more enlightening. He says, "Whatever makes you more compassionate, whatever makes you more sensible, whatever makes you more detached, more loving, more humanitarian, more responsible, and more ethical." I want to pause for a moment and just to point something out. Do you hear what the Dalai Lama is saying? Because there's a really important word in every single one of those responses. Whatever makes you. The Dalai Lama isn't saying whatever makes me. The Dalai Lama isn't saying follow me. The Dalai Lama is saying you. What is it that you, right? What gets you closer to God? What makes you a better person? What makes you more compassionate? Now back to the story. So Boff sat there silent for a moment, marveling at the Dalai Lama's wise and irrefutable response. And then the Dalai Lama went on to say, "I'm not interested, my friend, about your religion or if you're religious or not. Not at all. That's not what I'm interested in. What really is important to me is your behavior in front of your peers, your family, your work, and community, in front of the world. That's what's important to me. Remember, the universe is an echo of our actions and of our thoughts." He went on to say, "The law of action and reaction is not exclusively for physics. It's also of human relations. If I act with goodness, I will receive goodness. If I act with evil, I will get evil. You will always have what you desire for others. Being happy is not a matter of destiny. It is a matter of options. And finally, he said, take care of your thoughts because they will become words. Words become your actions, and actions because they will become your habits. Habits will form your character, and your character will form your destiny, and your destiny will be your life. There is no religion higher than truth. So as I started to prepare for this, I was thinking about this idea of your own spiritual sweet spot, and I thought the story of the Dalai Lama perfectly illustrated what I wanted to share with you about your own spiritual sweet spot. My belief is, in my own spiritual path and my own spiritual growth, is that each and every one of us has within us what I call a magical combination. And it's a magical combination of all the different things we get to learn here when we come into unity. I mean, it's kind of fun when you walk in the door, isn't it? Especially a lot of us that walked in here came from more traditional, more strict religious backgrounds and thought that, well, geez, all I can do is sit there and pray to God and hope something good happens to me. At least, right? That was my background. That's where I came from. But then all of a sudden I walked into the door of unity and I realized, oh my goodness, there's so much more I can play with. There's so much more I can do. And so you learn about meditation, you learn about prayer, you learn about affirmations, you learn about denials, you learn about all these things that Charles and Myrtle talked about forever and ever and ever. But then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, but then what? Then what do you do with it? And to me, learning the principles is really just the beginning. It's the first step in the door. It doesn't do anything until you actually start to apply the principles. And my belief and my understanding is that if I was sitting here and Myrtle and Charles were sitting right in front of us and I were to ask them, what would you do? What would you suggest? Their answer would be very similar to what the Dalai Lama said. And that is what I believe, is that each and every one of us has a way to do these practices in your own unique way that brings out the best of you, that brings out your ability to connect with your own divinity, that own piece of you. The way that you can do it is going to be a lot different than the way that I do it. And so if there's anything that I can share in terms of your own spiritual path is trust it. I always believe this, that spirit inside of us, it's always gently tapping us on the shoulder. And it's always whispering in our ear, telling us which way to go, what to do. It's just trying to show us that, look, your way may be a little bit different. For example, some people might love to go take a walk on Lake Michigan. That could be their form of prayer or meditation. Even meditation is not always done the same way. Some people are taught that, no, you've got to do meditation. You've got to sit down. You've got to keep your back rigid. You've got to do it this. You've got to do it that way. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can meditate while you're brushing your teeth. You can meditate while you're taking your dog for a walk. You can meditate while you're listening to beautiful music. You can meditate, I don't know, while I'm sitting here talking in front of a bunch of beautiful people. If that's what you're decided to do, you can do that if you want to meditate. If you want to connect with your own divinity and talk to God, you can do it all at the same time and be doing dishes out in the kitchen. You really can. What I want to say is that it's completely different for each and every one of you in terms of the way that you connect, the way that you use these tools that the Fillmores talked about. I hate to be a spoiler alert, but it wasn't just the Fillmores, right? There's a lot of other people out there talking about the same stuff at the same time. And people before them, people after them, people are coming in and adding different things to it. There is so much more that's coming at us in these times in terms of things we get to play with. I don't know about you, but this game, this journey, this spiritual journey that we're all on, it's really fun. I have a lot of fun with my spirituality. I really believe that God likes to party. I really do believe that. I think God likes to have a good time. I really believe that. I mean, he obviously turned water into wine, right? I mean, so there's something there. There's a reason that he did that. But the thing is you can have a good time with your own spiritual journey. I think my observation has been sometimes we take it too seriously. We need to lighten up. And when I say that, I literally mean we need to lighten up and relax. Trust yourself, trust your divinity, trust God, and pay attention. And be open to what the possibilities could be for you. Because I promise you that in its own way, your soul is trying to connect with you and connecting with God 24/7. It's kind of like gravity. It's never off. It's always on. Always. Every single moment of the day. And you know what? The only thing that changes is us paying attention to it. That's it. Are we paying attention to it? And it's okay if you don't. There's no judgment there, right? You're not being judged. Ever. Ever. You're never being judged. And so what that allows you to do is to stand in your own divinity, in your own way, connect with this thing on a beautiful level, and it allows you to have the experience, in my opinion, that Jesus taught us over 2,000 years ago, and others. There were other ones teaching it as well. And so as you go out there and you start playing with this stuff, just understand that there is no right or wrong way to do it. If your intention, the one thing I strongly would recommend, it's just a recommendation, set an intention. Like, I really want to connect here. I really want to do this. I really want to spend more time with my God Center. I really want to spend time with my soul. I really want to connect with my divinity. That's all you need to say, folks. You know why? Because who and what you are. You are a child of God. Don't ever forget that. I would suggest you forget the stuff that society has tried to put on us in terms of what we are or what we aren't. That stuff that was tried to be jammed down our throat through the religion, through teachers, through all this other stuff that's happened in our lifetimes. All of us, by the way, were impacted by that. Not just us, but generation from generation to generation to generation. And as a result of it, unfortunately, a lot of us forgot who we are. We forgot how brilliant we are. We forgot how loved we are. We forgot how needed we are. And how important we are. You are an amazing, amazing light. And you are needed now more than ever. For who and what you are. And it doesn't mean it has to be anything super special. It doesn't mean it needs to look spectacular. It doesn't mean anything other than you just showing up and being you. You know why? Because you're all divine. That's it. There's nothing more special than that. As the saying goes, it doesn't get much better than that. Right? It really doesn't. Just simply because who and what you are. But unfortunately, many of us taught that that's not good enough. Many of us were taught that we're not worthy enough. Many of us were taught, you know what? It needs to look like this. And here's the box, and we're going to basically have this little box, and this is what the box looks like, and everybody needs to fit in this box. And if you don't fit in this box, we got a problem. We got a problem, right? But isn't that really what we were all taught? That it needs to look like this, and we need to look like Jesus, and we need to walk on water, and we need to bring people back from the dead, and if we can't do that, then who are we? Oh, people. Just by you being here, just by your presence, that's enough. That's it. Remember who you are. Always. Don't ever forget that. We need you. Like really, 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 we need you. Have anybody picked up a newspaper lately? Maybe not. I hope not, actually. I mean, I'm asking that question. I mean, you talk about a way to get depressed really quick, right? But you know, I often say this, and I've said this for a long, long time, in my own belief that with what's going on, when you really start applying this stuff, what happens is there's this stuff, anybody hear shadow work? Anybody know what that means? Yeah. So there's shadow work, and in my opinion, what's happening is we as a human consciousness right now on the planet, we're doing our shadow work. And I don't know if you've ever done it or not, but on a personal basis, it doesn't look real pretty when you do it. It can get messy. And so, in my opinion, all this craziness, is us really healing, because we're finally letting the cat out of the bag. This stuff has been shoved down for centuries, and we're finally getting real with what's going on. And it hurts, and it's not fun to see this stuff. But here's the thing. If you can think about it from the standpoint of we're healing, and the truth is there's more light coming through each and every one of us, all of our brothers and sisters, regardless of what the news is trying to tell you, how much we don't get along these days, it's all garbage. It's garbage. And so we get to show up every single day. We get to get out of bed and make a really simple decision. Am I going to sit here and play with this wonderful gift that I have, which is called my divinity, and just do the best I can? Show up and do the best I can. And at the end of the day, when you're sitting down and you're looking yourself in the mirror as you brush your teeth before you go to bed, can you just go there and say, hey, you know what? I did the best I could. Showed up, shined my light the best I could in my own unique way. It's not a bad deal. It's really not. So as you sit here eating and you have the rest of this night to yourself, I guess the thing that I would like just to leave you with is just a couple of thoughts about some things that you could possibly think about, and that is really take the time to figure out what is the thing in terms of your own spiritual sweet spot. What are the things that you can do that really connect you? I'll share you some thoughts and ideas that I have, but this is Mike's own little thing. It doesn't mean anything to you. I get up and I meditate. It's important for me to meditate in the morning. I really love doing that. And then you know what I'll do? I'll flip on the YouTube channel and I'll watch some of these really cool people that I like to talk about really cool stuff. I have different people that I follow. It's really, really fun. It gives me new ideas. It gets my brain thinking. I'm like, wow, this is really, really cool. So I do that a little bit. And then I'll sit there and maybe write a little bit. Then I'll read something. I usually like to do that. And then some of the other practices I have, I do breath work. I don't know if anybody is familiar with that, but breath work is extremely powerful. It's really, really fun. It works for me. The other things I like to do is grounding. Anybody ever do grounding or earthing? Yeah, take your shoes off and go stand in the grass for about 15 minutes a day. It will change your life. It will change your life. There's biological proof that if you just stand on the earth for 15 minutes a day, it will change your physiology. It will change your life. That's another thing I like to do. I kind of get a kick out of doing this, I got to be honest with you. I love sharing divinity with everybody that cares to listen. To me, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. It inspires me. So that's some of the things that I do. I also do tapping, which is really, really fun. I'm a life coach, and I also do a practice called Psych K, which is pretty cool, and a couple other things. But look, that's Mike, right? It's not you. I would just say that there's a thing inside of you, the sweet spot, where it's a combination of things that you do that helps you really stay connected to your divinity. And my challenge that I leave you with is figure it out. Because I promise you it's there. If you take the time and understand, okay, Mike was saying when he talked that there's something inside of me and there's a combination of things that I could do, and by doing it, it would really allow me to connect with my own divinity and connect with God. Yeah. And then start asking, okay, let me see it. What is it? And start paying attention. Because that request goes out into the universe, and guess what? You're pretty powerful. And the universe will answer it. Because that's the way it works. If you pay attention, and if you believe that, then that's what gets to happen. Right? Yeah. You're amazing. Really. People at Unity are pretty special. And in my opinion, I think that we are here and we come together as a group to do some pretty amazing things. I think you haven't seen anything yet. I really do believe this. That we are basically in front of the change that is so desperately needed on this planet. That's why I'm at Unity. That's why I've been here for over 40 years. Because I believe in the name. I believe we are Unity. We survive as Unity. All this other stuff, I don't want to talk about it. I don't. people start talking about politics, people start talking about all this other stuff, hey, that's where I go. Is it talking about your divinity, God, connecting with it, healing and helping people? Let's have a conversation. You want to talk about all that other stuff? Be my guest. I just don't want to participate in the conversation. I don't. It's not that I'm stupid and I don't know what's going on with the news. I do. But my own spot, my own sweet spot, is to talk more about what we have in common and less about what we don't, especially when it comes to your divinity. I could sit up here and talk for a long time, but it's Friday night, and I've already taken up enough of your time. Seriously, you are glowing, and it's beautiful to come back here and spend some time with you. I am incredibly grateful, and just hope you guys have an absolute fantastic rest of your night, and I really greatly appreciate you having me here. Thank you, and have a great night.